This is a TMNT show you probably never heard of. Or maybe you did, I don't know, I'm not you. In 2001, TMNT was about to be revamped, this time around with the original creators on board. See, in the late 90s, TMNT really fell off. It was strong in the 80s, it was strong in the early 90s, but after things like the fourth movie, The Next Mutation, it was really not a franchise that was, let's just say, considered to be good. The franchise was in a really weird place at the time, as The Next Mutation had just ended. The Turtles joking about gangbanging in April was still pretty fresh in everybody's mind. Nah, seriously, they were like in a band or something. I don't even know what was going on. In 2001, there were a few Turtles projects in production, including a Hallmark special, I guess, which ironically enough seems to be one of the most edgy things that TMNT was trying to do at the time. And of course, a new show that would be more in line with the original Mirage comics. Hence this series. This series doesn't really have a name, so most likely you're going to see it be called Turtles 2001 or TMNT 2001. The pilot for the show was actually uploaded somewhere in 2009 by one of the guys who worked on it. There's actually a lot of images and concept art of this show actually just floated around the internet. Overall, from what it looks like, the show was actually meant to be CGI or 3D animated. A lot of the 2D art just seems to be like concept art to get the concept across to the CGI artists. A few things I want to note is how Casey and April seem to look like teenagers. This would be something that happened in the 2012 series many years later, but this really wasn't a thing at the time from what I could tell, as most of the time they would be portrayed as actual adults in any media that they showed up in. I noticed something very strange when looking at concept art of these turtles. They look a lot more like the turtles that were on the box art for the 2003 toys. They actually look a lot like the toys themselves. Speaking of that, this version of the turtles got far enough along to the point where they were actually like developing a toy line. And the toys look a lot like the 03 toys, which makes me think that the 03 toys look so different from how they actually look in the show because they were modeled after these guys. This would really seem to check out, all things considered. Let's just pretend that this show got far along enough where it was still in production in late 2001, borderline 2002. That would only be a year removed from when the 03 show came out. A lot of the ideas that were being thrown around for the show ended up being used in the 03 version. The show was either meant to premiere on Kids WB or Cartoon Network. The 03 show ended up premiering on the Fox box and Cartoon Network. There are a lot of visual similarities. Also, even this weird gag where Raphael keeps stopping Mikey from saying cowabunga was also used in both versions. When it comes to the overall animation, it's actually not all that bad, all things considered. It kind of reminds me of a slightly better version of what the MTV Spider-Man used to look like. But I'll be honest, the textures just weren't there yet. To me, it doesn't seem like this show ever really died. It just seems like it morphed into the 03 show. And so part of me, instead of wanting to look at this as if it was like some separate canceled show we never got, a part of me likes to look at this as if it's like the early version of the 03 show. But I don't know, maybe you guys disagree with me. Either way, if you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Remember, I read all comments.